Okay, today we're talking about Redemption Born, our first ever fan film. Josh was the writer and co-director for Redemption Born. Josh, where did you get the idea for this short?
This is kind of an odd story. I played Red Dead Redemption, obviously. It's a fantastic game by Rockstar. I played actually Red Dead Revolver 2, which is the first game in the Red Dead series that not as many people know about. It came out on the GameCube, and it was one of my favorite games. But the inspiration for the short actually came... Do you guys know who Dan Bull is? Have you heard of him?
No.
Nope.
He started off on YouTube. He's a British hip-hop artist who his main musical export is raps based on video games. It's amazing. And he's got one based on Red Dead Redemption, and I was listening to it, and it was really great. And then I kind of thought to myself, why hasn't anyone done anything? I mean, obviously there are fan shorts all over the place, but I just kind of thought of the idea of a scripted Red Dead piece, and it just kind of snowballed from there thanks to a British dude's rap about the game.
That is nowhere near where I thought this came from. I thought this was like such a natural progression from the game, and that just blew my mind.
No, yeah, because the short is about the end of the game, and the rap doesn't feature the end of the game at all. It's about the beginning of the game.
So it had nothing to do with the second Red Dead Redemption coming out soon?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had actually heard that Red Dead 2 was going to be a prequel. Because you were going to play as John Marston, and what led up to him having this sort of infamous sort of reputation. Turns out it's a sequel, which is great, kind of, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years in the future it's set. But yeah, it had nothing to do with Red Dead 2 getting teased, because I had written this before Red Dead 2 was officially announced. But yeah, it just came from a Dan Bull song.
Wow. It's amazing.
Well, you heard it here first. That is amazing. I was really surprised. You said that you had a story about it, and I wasn't even going to ask because I just thought it was a progression of the story, and it made sense. And there's a sequel coming out, so why not? That's amazing.
No, it was a rap song.
It was a rap song. And I can't wait to go look it up. You just promoted this
This
guy.
is
It's
amazing.
Dan Bull's amazing. If you haven't listened to his stuff, anyone listening, he's got, I think, 6 or 7 albums out there on Spotify. They're on iTunes. He's awesome. He's
Great.
really talented.
Well, our first promotion ever.
Dan Bull, gladly. I fucking love Dan Bull.
Great. Okay, well, let's talk about the process a little bit. Zach is the editor of this. He also shot it. Let's go through how we started this whole thing.
Yeah, I downloaded a little rinky-dink free to download script editing software because I'm in no way a writer, and I sort of wrote a bullet point draft. And we're friends with so many people that we work with that are actors and stuntmen, and sort of we had all the resources at our disposal there in terms of casting. So I just kind of started writing it with a couple people in mind, and it took shape sort of. And I knew Zach, I didn't know in detail, but I knew Zach had a camera and he just filmed some stuff for some friends. And I was like, hey, you want to film? And our friend Christian, who is sort of the co-director and other cinematographer, has his own videography company. He does weddings and
live events. He's the owner of Amber Exposure. And he's really high end. He's like really incredible.
It's the most professional shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, when Christian showed up to set, I mean, Zach, like, both of you guys are so professional, but I think it was when Christian put his little
He
belt
has a
on,
belt with like gaff tape.
and he had all the gaff tape and everything. And we're like, oh
Packs and
my
like a-
god,
He made it so official. Yeah. I mean,
So I knew you thought to ask Christian, and I asked Zach, and I didn't know Zach was so good at editing, because when it came to the editing process, I would show up at Zach's. We had 2 days marked away and when we were going to edit. And the first day I came, and Zach was like, yeah, I have a little bit done. I just kind of toyed around with it. I sat down here the whole first half edited completely. I was like, what the hell? Second day, he's like, I looked at it a little. I came expecting to be there for like 5 hours, sitting down editing it piece by piece. I sit down and I was like, yeah, I worked on it a little bit more. Had the second half completely. was like, okay.
Yeah.
Zach, did you base all your editing off the script or just what you had seen
The
in
script
footage?
was, yeah, it was a perfect outline. I mean, I was able to read the script, and then I think we did such a good job of shooting exactly what was on the script. So I was able to just go scene by scene, and the dialogue perfectly I matched the edit to the script.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
an easy job for me.
I'm
definitely.
sure because I've written like more fiction stuff. I've never really written any sort of screenplay. So I'm sure if you took it to like a actual screenplay, like this is what a screenplay looks like, you'd be like, no, absolutely not. So that's probably why it was maybe a little bit easier because I sort of wrote it. I can't help but write it in sort of more long form
Right.
instead of like
Well, I think what made it easy is that I've edited documentaries in the past, and you kind of have to develop a storyline in post production.
right.
The storyline was so well developed that it was so easy to
And
put
it helps-
together.
It helps how short
Exactly.
This was our first go at
Yeah.
a fan film, and obviously we have more in the future. But we wanted to make this under 5 minutes. We wanted to make this brief, tell a very succinct ABC story that I think that helped in the editing process, where there wasn't any excess fat to trim off. There was just these are the shots. Pick which angle you like the best. Put them together. We didn't have to trim anything. You didn't have to add anything, which I think helped a lot. I mean,
I think also what helped a lot was the amount of pre-production that you put into this. I remember you coming up to me, 3 months ago about this project.
Yeah.
You've been putting a lot of time into this. So, I mean, when it came time to shoot,
was
we
a
knew
s-
what we needed to shoot.
Yeah, it was a solid combination of pre-production, planning, and procrastination that put this thing in development hell for like 3 months.
I also think the only reason that the short got done is because of Christian's belt, or else the cops would have shut us
Right.
down.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, when we were filming,
sure.
we were filming at a park here in LA. There's a public park, so I think it's totally legal.
If it's city owned or state
City-owned.
owned,
State-owned.
it is supposed to be okay. You're supposed to get some sort of approval, but otherwise it's supposed to be legal. You don't need a permit for it.
Which we didn't have.
But there becomes a little bit of concern when
Well, you have
some props
fake
with us.
guns.
There's some
fake
guns
blood.
and drones next to the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the drone?
Yeah.
A little
yeah,
bit?
Yeah. First, the Christian story, though. Lacey, my fiance, can testify that leading up to filming it, I was actually losing sleep over what if someone stops us? What if someone shuts it down? Because all the people involved had such different schedules that, like, these 2 mornings are the only time we have
Right.
to film this when I want to film it. So I was actually, like, losing sleep. I was in bed like, what if someone shuts it down? Someone came, like park rangers came, an unmarked white truck came up to our friend Trevor, who was in it. He was not ready to answer their questions.
Did we not brief? I thought we briefed everybody.
We
Did we
did.
not?
But he panicked.
The story was that
Panicked.
Christian,
I don't blame him.
one of our photographers, Christian, he went to Cal State LA. He had his student ID on him. The story was we are doing a film for Cal State LA, and that's our story. And we're sticking to it. We
Yep.
didn't have any details, but they pull up to Trevor, the guy who plays the lead bandit. It's like, what are you guys doing? Trevor's verbatim response was, we're shooting a short student film." The guy just stared at him. So find that under my breath as I was hiding the fake blood in the bushes,
And people are throwing guns.
throwing guns
bushes,
into
yes.
different rocks. I was like, "Christian, get over here!" And so Christian walks up with his like an $800 belt, like a camera, a strap on his shoulder. He's like, "Yeah." And the guy was like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Student film, Cal State LA." Just the most confident
Yeah.
I've ever seen a human being in my life. And the guys were like, "Okay, carry on."
That was
They
it.
just left.
Which is funny because Christian was the one most nervous about it. He's like, we got to get this
Yep.
straight. Like, it's got to be. I have an ID because I gone to film school. I was like, I know one of the teachers that's still there. Like, we'll just use that. He's like, I got the ID. We got this. Like,
Yeah.
But he was still a little bit nervous about it.
Yeah,
And
because
then
Christian's not an actor; he's behind the camera. But
yeah,
that was like an Oscar performance.
It was, unreal.
Like it was the most confident I've ever seen. Like I aspire to that level of confidence in my day-to-day life. Like that's what I look up to now is Christian talking to a park ranger, lying to him about a student film.
It took us all a second to process what just happened.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Terrifying.
So tell us about the drone experience, Zach. Zach, in the short, if you watch it, we do have a couple of really cool drone shots, both wide shots that you can tell are used by a drone, and a couple of Steadicam shots that we did with the drone because there was so much movement. We wanted the camera to stay still, and Zach actually, genuinely, masterfully, piloted, I guess, this
Yeah.
drone
Nervously.
nervously.
Yeah, I mean, I would say anytime I use the drone, it's terrifying.
Right.
Because you're putting, a somewhat expensive piece of equipment into the air, and you just hope
Well, and the human danger.
things go. Of course, it's kind of dangerous, right?
Yeah, and the shot at the end is a drone, and those blades are moving.
Yes.
a
quite
fucking
fast.
1,000 miles an
Yes.
hour.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that where we shot at was next to
An airport.
Both
An
an
airport.
airport and a military vehicle holding site.
Yeah. What was that about? Because we kept having those trucks drive by,
Yeah.
and then we had some kind of like carrier drive out of
the
there.
first day before we didn't have the tall drone shot, but the first day when we had the level drone shot, like a military aircraft carrier flew right overhead.
yes.
And I didn't know when drones lose connectivity to the pilot, they just fucking shoot straight up in the air.
Look, it's
They don't drop.
you hope
They
it doesn't happen, but for whatever reason, it's called a flyaway when it loses.
I don't understand that.
I
Why
don't
wouldn't
know.
they just drop?
And naturally, we started talking about that as soon as the drone came out. So we were all freaking out about it,
Yes.
especially Zach. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I really hope it doesn't
And-
happen. But
I became really nervous when I opened the app for the drone,
Yeah.
and it made me check off that I'm aware that there's an airport.
What is
by
it,
it,
like
and
a
I take
cla-
full
Was it
responsibility.
like a Class D
Class
fly
D
zone?
fly zone.
Which basically means if your drone disconnects and flies up into the engine of a 747, you kill hundreds of people. It's
Look.
on you, homie.
you accepted that responsibility.
There's a lot of
That's pretty much what
self-incrimination going on in this podcast.
I mean, it's all out there, you know.
but- yeah, right.
You know
We did
what?
it. It was a
Nothing
first
happened
experience.
this time around. So it's
I'm still
fine.
nervous about it. Like I'm still terrified.
Yeah.
About the drone?
Yeah,
You get sweaty about it. At
yeah,
night.
I do. Every time I look at the shot, it's terrifying. I mean, I'm glad we did it because I think the shot turned out nicely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I
it's
think.
great.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, really wasn't that high up in the air. It was
No.
maybe 2 stories up.
no, but it needs to be on for it to shoot up into the air. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah, I suppose. All it takes is one electrical interference
Yes,
for the drone to go back to its mothership, apparently, and
and also in that last shot in the film, I'm flying it inches from your head,
inches from my head. Yeah.
which
That one was the scary one for me, because we had the running scenes. It was parallel as I was running, and
yeah,
the drone one was up in the air. It was not scary for me at all. But the last scene, you actually have to go over my shoulder with the drone. Those propellers are
They're quick.
There was reports of them chopping people, right?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
correct,
Great.
correct.
Yeah. That was the first thing that we shot.
That was the first scene we shot was a propeller
It was almost over before it started.
inches from my ear.
Yes. Yeah.
You got to bleed for your craft, though. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm all for
I
it.
will say, speaking of blood, not really, no one bled, but the amount of work that
Christian bled. He cut himself.
did he?
Yes, so there's blood, sweat, and I believe you might have cried. So
A little
tears.
great. We
I
got
mean,
it
they're
all.
fake tears, but does that count?
Well, no, yeah, it counts.
That means that we're just a well-oiled machine
Correct.
on this.
Right.
I mean, everything came together.
I
Yep.
mean, I have the utmost respect, especially Trevor. I mean, Trevor destroyed it. Trevor,
Mhm.
the main bandit, the main outlaw who had all the lines, did actually he asked me the next day. He was like, "Hey, is that what I wanted?" And it actually not hyperbole. It's exactly what I pictured in my head when I was writing it.
It was so, yeah, it
I
was
wrote
amazing.
it for Trevor. I wanted Trevor to do that part, but I mean, the lines were so kind of vague. You could take him any direction you wanted to, and any direction, honestly, that he took it, I would be fine with. But it was literally he did it exactly how I pictured in my head. But I have the most respect for Thomas and Danny and Lacey, who had to just lay in the dirt, and then Thomas and Danny, who also had to lay in the dirt for half their screen time.
Yep.
They were fucking warriors. I can't thank them enough for basically putting away half of their day to stand out in a dusty, sweaty, windy,
They were on
part.
set for 6 to 7 hours just laying in the dirt.
laying in the dirt or standing behind bushes. And
Yep.
they were warriors, and it was the most impressive. And I cannot thank them or repay them enough, especially because I didn't actually pay them.
Right. Well, we don't pay anybody yet.
Yep.
Anyway,
Also, got to give a shout out to Tony for taking that headbutt like a champ.
I was just going to talk about the
Yeah.
stunts and how Tony came in
Yep.
for the stunt work. Can you kind
Yeah,
of
that
talk
was
about.
never intentional. I've known Tony for a couple of years now from work, and he's done stunts for a long time. He works for a stunt company, but I wanted someone I can trust to do a little fight scene with. I trust Trevor. I trust Danny and Thomas, but I knew Tony and I knew how his fight experience, and I've had a lot of stunt and fight experience. But Tony kind of came in, and I don't know if there was a miscommunication or what, but became the self-appointed stunt master, which I didn't plan on it, but I was actually glad once he started coordinating the fight that the night we met at my apartment, and he started coordinating that fight. I kind of actually it was my first moment where I was like, let him do this.
Yep.
It's one less weight off your shoulder. I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out.
Yeah.
I'm glad Tony kind of took it upon himself, and our friend LaRoyal, who was going to be in it, but had another job come up, he helped out too, and he's got a lot of stunt experience. So it was actually, I think it was a lot of stress lifted off my shoulders when someone actually came in and just when Tony appointed himself stunt captain, which was I'm fine with because everything turned out great.
Right. Yeah, I remember it was kind of like a Christian scenario, like, oh, wow, this is really professional all of a sudden. Tony kind of had the same feel because I wasn't there for the rehearsal at your apartment. But when I showed up and Tony's just like, okay, yeah, then we're going to hit here and this and this. It's like, wow, he's really got like a passion and love for this. And it came together so well.
But on top of that, he had the perfect look, I think,
He did.
for the film as well. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they all did.
definitely. Zach, how do you feel about the finished product?
I'm really happy with it. I mean, I didn't know much about Red Dead. I played it a little bit, so I didn't know what to expect. So I had to, kind of research a bit. And then you just see the words on the page, and it's kind of hard to picture in your head how it's going to be. But after we shot, and after I just looked, through all the footage, I was really happy with how it all came together. And then I think the edit, I'm happy with how it turned out. I mean, it's
Destroy the edit. It's beautiful.
It's
That was my hope all along, is that more my concern to start was out of the percentage of people on the planet, the vast majority hasn't played Red Dead Redemption. Specifically, hasn't played it through to the end, because really the where this film picks off is at the end of the game. So it was my hope and my concern, really, that even if you haven't played a second of the game, you could still get something out of watching the short. That's sort of what you hope for all fan films, whether it be ones we've done or ones we're going to do. Yes, it will help if you're a fan of the subject matter, if you know about it, but it won't take away anything from the experience if you don't.
Right.
agreed.
Great. So, Josh, how do you feel about the final product?
I mean, I love it. I guess I also love it because I haven't showed it to anybody outside of you guys. And Lacey saw it because she had to do a little voiceover ADR for it. So ask me again once we start showing people. We have yet to release it as of recording this, so Zach knows it's his baby as much as it is mine at this point because he's done so much editing on it. It's sort of nerve-wracking.
It's terrifying.
I'm not ready to show it.
Right. Yep.
Well, yeah.
But I'll have to be soon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, from the beginning process to now, you've seen basically what the final product is. Is it what you thought it would be in your head?
Yes. I mean, obviously, there are moments in your head where you're like, oh, I picture this, but say certain weapons or shots, for example, it's like, oh, that's not physically possible with fake weapons or with fake whatever. But given that we don't actually shoot Thomas and Danny, it's pretty much exactly how I pictured it. I'm proud of everybody that worked on it. I'm proud of myself. I have to say I'm proud of Zach immensely. And it is what I wanted.
Great. We'll do a follow-up on this after we've had a few viewings of it.
Oh, God. That's nerve-wracking.
I'm scared.
Zach's going to throw up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been BZ Talks. This is Zach. This is Josh. We hope you enjoy Redemption Born. You guys can view it right below here. Please go watch it.
And don't make fun of me.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for
you.
watching.
He didn't say yeah at the end.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Oh. We're out here, day one of our Red Dead Redemption fan film, Redemption Born. Waiting on Christian to set up his gear. Zach is to the bathroom somewhere. We haven't seen him in like a half an hour. We're starting with our graveyard scene. We got Mom and Pop's gravestones dug up. Now we're just waiting for Zach to poop, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Let's get a shot of yourself, huh?
No, I'm
Move
good.
that bad boy around. Lance behind the camera there. Yeah, that works.